and toddlers and women that are over the pregnancy 25-week mark, all savages. I'm telling you, just tell the truth all the time. That's where I'm at right now. That's what I'm feeling right now. And I want to talk about this Brett Cooper thing because it perturbed me a tiny bit. And I'm going to be very honest to you guys about my investment in this right at the top and just tell you exactly what's gone on in the background, because it's becoming pretty obvious to me that there seems to be an effort, a concerted effort to try to sort of destroy Brett Cooper's reputation before she's even begun her new independent venture. So I'll tell you who I was contacted by. Anyways, just a recap, obviously, it's all over YouTube. It's literally everywhere. It's even now on Joe Rogan. The Brett Cooper saga made its way to Joe Rogan last night. I have a clip of that for you. But we covered this at the end of last year because it was a major announcement. Brett Cooper announced that she was leaving the comment section, leaving the Daily Wire. It was a rather strained video that she gave at the end of last year. Kind of seemed like she was fighting back tears. And I basically gave my assessment. I thought the company, in my view, actually handled it as professionally as it could have plausibly been handled, given the firestorm of internet innuendo that was leading up to that moment. People suggesting that she was being pushed out, people suggesting that there were issues. They were trying to create a clone of Brett Cooper. But it was obvious, as I said to the public, that there was at least some level of drama which involved her now former best friend and maid of honor in her wedding earlier that year, who had replaced her, a young woman who was formerly her producer named Reagan Conrad. Okay. Brett Cooper stopped following the girl. This is relevant to what I'm going to say in a little bit. She stopped following her. She deleted her across all her socials, plus deleted her from the wedding pictures that she had posted. So there's no debate here. They are not friends, obviously. Okay, fine. Your friendships end. Again, not the biggest deal. So then, faster than anyone could have possibly predicted, they just rolled out the new comment section without Brett Cooper. And it seemed like Reagan very much was behaving identical to Brett, and it was not good. The market just rejected the show. And I'm not talking about like, maybe give it some time and we'll warm up to it. I mean, I am talking a firm 90% viewership dip that just seems to get worse every single week. So I'm just showing you really quickly here. These were the views when Brett Cooper was the host of the comment section. You can see she was basically, I would say, averaging 500,000 views, and then she was hitting 1 million views or 2 million views on certain videos. And here are the views today. Here is the snapshot today. So, you know, high end would be 54,000 views is the highest I can see on this screenshot. Low end, 19,000 views. That was posted 16 hours ago. So maybe we're averaging 30,000 views per an episode. Okay, that's a huge dip. As I said, market has responded, the market has answered, the market has said no. And not everything that you put out as a company works out. And that's just the true thing. You take a lot of risk, and sometimes that risk does not pay off. For an example, when I was at the Daily Wire, I was doing these cooking show segments, and people did not like it. I thought my food was good. People did not want to see Candace cooking. They just want to see Candace spilling the tea. They want to see Candace talking about a variety of topics. Fine. We just dumped it. Your job as a CEO when you're leading a company is you pivot, right? So you try something, bring it to the market responds. You either expand it because you got it right, or you shut it down when you get it wrong. More than anything in a leadership position, your role is to simply adapt to the market, okay? Not to blame the market and tell the market that it's wrong, just to simply adapt. So fast forward to this past month, and I start getting some really strange, specific calls from journalists, okay? So first, my PR person is informed at the end of last year, and this is exactly what was told to us, you know, in January, there's gonna be a big puff piece. This leak to us came from the Hollywood Reporter. It was a reporter at the Hollywood Reporter who was speaking about another reporter who was being put on what he described as a puff piece on Ben Shapiro. Why are we getting this phone call? Because Candace, you're going to be included in it. Why am I being included in this? Doesn't make any sense. Whatever. We get a weird phone call asking me questions about Brett Cooper. And I'm just like, I literally want nothing to do with this. Okay. So on January 13th, they ran this article, Hollywood Reporter, how Ben Shapiro conquered the MAGAverse. Okay. All right, Seth Abramovich, okay? But buried in this article, first, of course, mandatory paragraph, stab at Candace Owens, she's Hitler, Adolf Hitler, second coming of, and then suddenly like a little dig on Brett Cooper, kind of trying to maybe throw a little mud. Now, this came from the Reporter, but he wrote, conservative social media users theorized that Cooper's Israel-Hamas opinions got her fired, but Cooper's camp dismisses this. Now, No one theorized that. If they did, it was such a small pocket of the internet. Maybe you saw a tweet or two. Nobody in that entire explosion of Brett Cooper leaving the Daily Wire was speaking about Israel and Hamas. Like that's like was not the theme on the internet. So I found that to be extraordinarily strange that I was then being asked about that, about her Groyper tweet, a Groyper's tweeting about her. I'm like, what do we even, she's a 23-year-old girl. She's got nothing to do with this. And why are you trying to combine us in this piece? It was weird. Okay, whatever, let it go. I gave one comment, like I basically don't know what you're talking about. 4 days later, I get contacted again. 4 days later, I'm contacted by The Spectator. Similar angle, trying to push this idea that Brett Cooper might be anti-Semitic like Candace. Now, it's a Spectator, so we know whoever's leaking this to The Spectator's gossip column is obviously a boomer, okay? Like, she is Gen Z, TikToker, famous, okay? Like, this is not making it in the circles. This is like old school PR. Let's contact my contact at The Spectator and get them to run this about Brett Cooper. And I refused to participate in this because it's just so grimy to me to have a girl whose life is just beginning. She just got married. She's 23 years old. No matter what happened, okay, let her move on in her life. Why are we trying to throw dirt on her name for something that we know is so objectively not true? Here's the title of the article that's just talking about how like in your face this was. It was entitled, "What's Going On Between Brett Cooper and Candace Owens?" The answer's nothing. There's nothing. But again, they're just trying to essentially dirty her name, realizing Candace is dealing with the entire ADL attacking her and calling her anti-Semitic. Wouldn't it be great if we just like threw a little bit of that on Brett Cooper too? So before she even starts her show. And what was really strange about it, it was the same exact pattern. So when I left Daily Wire, all of these journalists were writing basically about my Twitter likes. They were like, Candace liked to post saying that Jews drink Christian blood. Obviously, it was not true. I was liking a post that had more in that. And then the person made a joke, "Are you drunk on Christian blood, Rabbi Shmuley?" Like, that's the context. But then all of these accounts start sharing that Candace thinks Jews drink Christian blood. So it was the same thing that was now being done to Brett Cooper. It was hyper focusing on a like, because Brett Cooper, who likes all of my posts because we work together, I like all of her posts. I like all of Matt Walsh's posts. I like Michael. Like, what if it comes across my feed, just like it? And she liked a post, which was a wrap up, like an annual wrap up of everything that we did. And in that post, buried in it, was me speaking about my view on Palestine and Israel. So they're taking a like and translating it into Brett Cooper is an anti-Semite. Okay. And this is what's in that Spectator article. Look at this. Cooper liking Owens's post raised questions. Does Cooper agree with Owens's take on the war in Gaza? Could this be tied to her departure from the Daily Wire? And does she plan to collaborate with Owens moving forward? And Brett responds, says, I like many of my friends' Instagram posts because we're friends. I'm unsure why liking my friend's end of year post a month ago is international news. But this reporter keeps pushing. He asks whether Cooper's like of Owens's post was a reflection of a change in her stance on Gaza or an act of post-wire solidarity. She again says, when a friend's post comes across my feed, I like them as friends do. So this really gives me the ick. I'm just saying this really gives me the ick. Later on in the article, a moment comes, and again, nobody saw this article, A, because it was behind a paywall. I only saw it because they asked me to participate in it. And I'll tell you what I said to the article, by the way. Like, this is my exact quote. I said, Candace Owens is too pregnant to comment. I'm not getting involved in this. It's petty. It should be beneath everybody. Whoever's orchestrating this from behind, it's ridiculous. But then it moved on to kind of this weird moment where Jeremy gives a comment and he says, a year ago, Brett told me if she were to ever leave the comment section that Reagan should be her replacement. Daily Wire, the CEO of Jeremy Boring, Daily Wire co-CEO Jeremy Boring told Cockburn. 6 months later, Brett said she wanted to leave, and I realized that she was right. Reagan, in addition to being the producer of Comment Section for 2 years, is a huge talent and a great choice to carry on the show. But look at Cooper's response to this. She responds and says, I did not select Reagan. So you have two comments that are completely at odds with one another. She is not saying much, but she's disputing what he has said here. And it just sort of dies on the internet because I'm not sharing this article. I don't care about this article. And I think it's weird. I think the timing of this article is weird. Okay. This brings us now to today, or this week rather, is what I should say. And this video that starts circulating. So now you have 4 days later, January 17th, Brett directly disputed Jeremy's narrative in a piece. Nobody saw it. It's behind a paywall, whatever. Gen Z doesn't read this stuff anyways. Fast forward to this week, and you have a moderator on a Twitter community. I didn't even know that you could have a Twitter community. I didn't even know that Twitter had this function. And the community is called Daily Wire Fan Club. And they release this, okay? They release, it is extremely upsetting and distressing that Brett Cooper can't be bothered to defend Reagan Conrad, especially since Brett recommended her as a replacement for the host of the comment section to Jeremy Boring. I only hope Brett eventually releases a statement of some kind to combat the vicious rumors. Now, parking aside, first off, this is very clearly an account that's pretending to be a man. No man starts a tweet with, it's extremely upsetting. You're talking about a 23-year-old girl, okay? If you are the grown adult man that is pictured in that photo, you need to get a life. Extremely upsetting. Oh my gosh. And now I see there's a new narrative that is being launched, which is Brett Cooper is a bad friend. And I'm going, what's happening here? So I watched this video, and apparently, I'll give you the context here. Jeremy Boring, the CEO, co-CEO of Daily Wire, released a commentary, and I think it is very fair to categorize it as extraordinarily passive aggressive. Okay, so I'm watching it, I'm going, is it just me, or does this just seem off? Like something here is just off. And it turns out the entire internet read it exactly that way, and it's now everywhere, and people are commenting on how off it really is. And so to tee this up, I don't know why he's answering questions. This could be, we used to do this thing like sort of you get to ask us questions, but it's usually for the host. I don't know the context of whether this is an all access live, but somebody asked him a question about mean comments and mean feedback that Reagan Conrad was getting on her show. And, you know, the show is not taking off, sort of a thing. So he answers it, and I'm paraphrasing here, by saying, well, actually, he explicitly says Reagan is amazing. And also the comment section was not Brett's. Essentially, we created the show at the Daily Wire. Brett is tremendously talented. He says she's talented. She's great. She made the show her own, but also it was successful because of our marketing department, essentially. Like, it's not just Brett's, it's ours. And by the way, Reagan produced the show and also helped to write it. Okay. So I'm now going to cut to this YouTuber named The Quartering, who goes through what it is exactly that Jeremy says in this video, so that you can just assess. Like, I think honestly, The Quartering, every thought that I had in my brain watching it, he kind of just said it. Here you go. Here's the first thing.
What Reagan hasn't done is taking acting classes to be more like Brett Cooper. That is just completely absurd, and it's hurt my feelings a little bit that Brett hasn't done more to defend her friend.
Whoa. So now, guy worth $100 million with $1 billion company is saying that Brett Cooper hurt his feelings because she hasn't defended Reagan, who is not Jeremy Boring, is not related to Jeremy Boring, has nothing to do with Jeremy. Why is his feelings hurt? He's like trying to guilt her into making some sort of statement promoting her old show, which she has absolutely no obligation to do.
And also, they're not friends. And so the language of making it seem like they are presently friends, and you would therefore be, I know, the whole world knows that they're not friends. So why would you be hurt by someone not promoting a show of their former friend? And also, I'm going to ask the question, can she even speak out about this? Because it certainly doesn't look like it. And, you know, NDAs are industry standard. So that also is another question. Then there kind of gets to this portion where he's speaking about acting classes, and I will just let Quartering take this part away as well.
Reagan's enormously talented. She's been an enormous part of building the comment section for the last 2 years. And I've never sent her to an acting lesson. She's never asked me to send her to an acting lesson. I've never asked her to do anything to be more like Brett. If anything, we've told her make the show as much your own as you can while maintaining the format. But she is like Brett because they are friends and collaborators, have been collaborators on the show. It's actually ironic because I did send Brett to various kinds of lessons as a
shade? Shade? Uh-oh.
Performer, not acting lessons. Brett's a terrific actress, and always, the entire time I've known her, she has been, as will be evident when you see the Pendragon cycle. But I did send her to dancing lessons and singing lessons in preparation for her role as Snow White. I sent her to dialogue coaching sessions to help her with her role in the Pendragon cycle, and that's good. That's like
I feel like this is kind of a backhanded compliment. He's basically saying like, well, I had to do all this stuff for Brett Cooper, but he's like couching it by, it's like a compliment sandwich. He's saying, oh yeah, she's just so great. Well, I did send her to dancing lessons, vocal lessons, dialogue lessons, this lesson, that lesson.
So real.
But she's fantastic. This is classic passive aggressive compliment sandwich boss talk.
That's how I read it. It just felt very backhanded, and I'm not sure why. I don't know why this is happening right now, why people can't just move on and have an amicable split, or if it's not amicable, just move on. Like, again, she's 23 years old. And once again, in that statement, he says friends. You know, they're friends. That's why they act alike. They are not friends. He knows they're not friends. Everyone knows they're not friends. So what is the purpose of answering a question and saying something? Maybe here, let me be charitable. Maybe he truly is the only person in the world who does not know that the two of these girls had a tremendous falling out that the entire internet reported on due to her taking over the show. Like, maybe he's the only person who does not know that Brett unfollowed Reagan and deleted all. Maybe he's the only guy and he's really just being like, wow, I think they're still friends right now. Maybe that is true. But I don't think that's true. I think he knows they're not friends, and he's saying this in a way that I just can't comprehend what is the actual purpose of this. And it does feel like a backhanded compliment towards a 23-year-old girl. And then he sort of gets into like why the audience doesn't accept Reagan, like why the show is failing. And here's what he had to say.
And the audience, whenever Reagan would guest host the comment section, the audience loved her. The comments were almost universally positive. In fact, many of the things that they're now criticizing her for in the comments were the things that they liked most about her.
Well, that's because she wasn't replacing her then. She was simply filling in.
I do like this guy's like very common sense. Like everyone, yeah, it's a little different if I'm like, hey, Brett's gonna fill in for me, and I was like, oh my god, great, I love to see that they're friends. And then like afterwards, you're like, just kidding, Brett was pretending to be her friend and she stabbed Candace in the throat, and now she's got her job. Like there's obviously a difference in how the audience is going to receive that. There's an emotional understanding here that I think is perhaps being missed. But now it sort of becomes like the audience fault, and this is how he concludes that thought about the audience suddenly not liking this show anymore.
When they didn't know that Brett was leaving the show. And for that reason, I know that most of these attacks on Reagan are completely unfair. They're completely disingenuous. People aren't really raising these criticisms. They're either helping to craft or buying into a narrative which has been crafted by people who want the Daily Wire to fail and want Reagan to fail in the role. And both will be disappointed because Reagan will not fail in this role. And the Daily Wire will not fail. We continue to grow and we continue to succeed, and business is hard, and we'll go through you're always going to go through a little bit of a downturn in audience after a very popular host leaves a show.
So to me, this is a tremendous lowering of the office of the CEO. It seems like he's engaging in high school drama and theatrics and doing it in a way in which he's trying to throw some tar on Brett Cooper's name, but simultaneously saying to the audience, like, you know, accusing them of wanting to see the Daily Wire fail. It's like, no, they just don't like this show, man. Like it's that easy. They don't like the new host of the show. It doesn't mean nobody's rooting against. I've never even heard or met this girl, Reagan Conrad. I just don't think the audience likes the show. I think they appreciated Brett in that role. And I don't think you can just blame the markets and say, well, you're going to see, like, we are going to be successful. Like, there seems to be this like underlying anger and upset there that the audience doesn't like it. It's literally, we saw this meme circulating on the internet. It's this meme for the comment section. Jeremy Boring shoots the comment section with Brett Cooper, then turns around and goes, how could Brett Cooper do this? How could she do this to us? It's okay, totally fine. And if you think, or if you constantly see yourself as like the victim of this, as opposed to just taking it on the chin and saying, they don't like this, let me create something else, it's not going to change. You know what I mean? It's not going to change. And the comments section pertaining to Jeremy's comments on the comment section reveal that. These are just, by the way, the top posts in order under the Quarterings video. This is not interrupted whatsoever. So the guy who made her sign an NDA wants her to speak about something she probably isn't even allowed to speak about. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's not entrapment or anything like that. These people are vile. Are they trying to destroy their company and credibility? Because that's what it looks like. Next person. None of that explains why Brett unfollowed Reagan and Jeremy on all social media and why she deleted the made-up honor photos. Like, no one's being fooled by this. He's upset that the comment section was a cash cow with Brett and he didn't realize how much value she was actually worth. The only reason the DW didn't start an entirely new channel for Reagan was that they didn't want to throw away the 4.7 million subs and start over. It was purely out of greed and a numbers decision, in my opinion. I think Jeremy is confusing his feelings with his wallet, since Reagan barely draws 10% of the views that Brett did. A good CEO doesn't go around talking about his feelings. Why does he publicly call out Brett? Can he not just call her up and explain the problem and ask her to say something? This attempt at public shaming to force her is disgusting. Jeremy Boring 100% tells his employees that we're a family here right before he throws them under the bus that Ben is driving. The fact that Brett hasn't said anything and that she unfollowed Reagan on social media along with everything else tells me that there were definitely hurt feelings. Last three here. When you quit a job, it's not your job to get involved in the former employer's issues. That's correct. Jeremy Boring once again attacking ex-staff while holding them to strict NDAs. It shows you who he is. Lastly, the DW did Reagan a disservice by trying to insert her into Brett's show instead of launching Reagan's own show. And I really think that if they had paid attention to the comments and what people were saying as all this was going on, as opposed to just thinking that, well, you could just do this and replace, they wouldn't be in the situation in the first place. But it's just, like I said, tremendously unfair, ridiculous to assume that people are rooting against you or anybody's coordinating. I don't know the quartering. Joe Rogan is speaking about this yesterday with Warren Smith, like the guy who got fired for being sensible about the trans issue. He's been on the Daily Wire. He's following this saga and telling Joe Rogan about it. And they're questioning like the business decisions at the Daily Wire. It's not, there's no conspiracy here. This is a big thing that happened. People have a right to respond to it. People have a right to be concerned about it. And you know, if you're going to carry on blaming other people and especially blaming a 23-year-old girl, it's not going to be a good look, you know, and to whoever it is that's behind the scenes trying to orchestrate these pieces about Brett, it's nasty business. She's a young girl. You got to be able to break up sometimes and not have drama. And I'm not implying that that's Daily Wire. I'm telling you exactly who I got contacted by, Hollywood Reporter and The Spectator. I'm just saying that whoever is doing it, it's dirty business and it's not helping the businesses that you think that you're helping. It's certainly not helping Reagan's show by trying to throw mud on Brett Cooper, who hasn't even come back out yet. Ladies and gentlemen, that said, we will include a link to Brett Cooper's new YouTube channel under this episode because I want to support her, because I resent that she's going through this. I really do resent that she's going through this as such a young girl. And she's so great and she's so kind and she's so classy and she has handled this in the best possible way. Certainly not in a way that I would handle it at 25 plus weeks pregnant. So we will leave it at that before we get into some Blake Lively stuff, which I'm so excited about. But first, I want to tell you guys some great news because we obviously love preborn. So there is the abortion pill reversal treatment, which provides women with a second opportunity to choose. It is bringing babies back to life. When you join forces with Preborn Ministries, you empower women to reverse the curse. What you might not be aware of is that even though Roe was overturned and abortion has been greatly restricted in many states, the abortion pill has superseded surgical abortions, accounting now for over 60% of all abortions. Preborn's network of clinics are on standby for women in their darkest hour. They meet them with God's love and free services to help them choose life. Through ultrasounds and the abortion pill reversal protocol, Preborn has rescued over 300,000 lives. You can start this new year right by supporting life and by donating to Preborn today. One ultrasound is just $28 and $140 will help rescue 5 babies. So to donate, you can just dial #250 and say the keyword baby. Again, that's #250 baby, or donate securely at preborn.com/Candace. That's preborn.com/Candace. Also to American Financing, great company. A lot of Americans are carrying large balances on high interest credit card debt. It is time to take control of that. If you're a homeowner and you've been wanting to figure out how to get your finances in order, you have to call my friends at American Financing today. American Financing salary-based mortgage consultants are helping homeowners just like you tap into their home's equity to get out of high-interest debt. They are saving their average customer $800 a month. All it takes is a 10-minute, no-cost, no-obligation phone call to find out how much you could be saving. And if you start today, you may not even have to make the next 2 months' mortgage payments. So call American Financing today at 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210, or you can visit them on the web at americanfinancing.net/Owens. Again, that's americanfinancing.net/Owens. Okay. So I was supposed to take a day off yesterday. Then I realized that I kind of just gave everybody a free podcast on my Instagram accounts because I was just I kept sharing the cat meme, like not the cat meme, it's the cat emoji. We're like, that's my favorite emoji where I'm like, oh, and this has been me following the Blake Lively saga. And so I'm so sorry for those of you guys that don't like culture. My show is just a mix of everything. I'm into politics. I'm into culture. One day we're doing a deep dive on Kamala Harris. Next week we'll be into Emmanuel Macron. But I gotta this Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing is seizing me. And so a woman said today on Instagram, it is our Roman Empire. And this is it. It's our Roman Empire right now. So forgive me. I think I said 2 days ago I wasn't going to cover this again, but then I got intel. It was me. I got amazing intel. Okay. So first, let's cut to this headline, this little update in the Daily Mail. And the Daily Mail is saying that Ryan Reynolds is in a desperate bid to save his image amid his wife's Blake Lively's $400 million legal battle with Justin Baldoni. So he is now concerned. And buried in this article, it tells us that insiders claim, ready, but it was Reynolds who pushed for the shock request for a gag order, because they just now are requesting a gag order. And this is a desperate bid to stave off any disruption to all of his upcoming projects and the staff at his company, because he runs a company called Maximum Effort Productions. And for the sake of his wife's well-being. Well, isn't that timely? The quotation given to the Daily Mail was, Ryan was a driving force in requesting a gag order for Justin's attorney. The insider told DailyMail.com exclusively. Ryan's production company has a lot of projects in the works right now, and Ryan would be devastated if this impacted these, as it is unfair to his coworkers and the people who work at his company. Okay, Ryan. Okay, Ryan. We're starting to see you for who you are. Rather hilariously, apparently there was some medium who went on a show, I should have dug up the clip for you guys to watch, and predicted the day before yesterday that this entire Blake Lively thing was going to shift around, and it was going to be about Ryan Reynolds. It was going to be bad for Ryan Reynolds. She told this to Drew Pinsky, and I did not know this. And when I got my tip yesterday, I just started sharing it because I was going, this is the only thing that makes sense. The person who wrote to me said that they worked on the set of It Ends With Us, okay? And that the villain in this entire story is not Blake Lively. It's not Justin Baldoni, but it is Ryan Reynolds. And now I look at him and I just go, how did I not see? Look, he puts Botox in his forehead. Of course, he's a madman. Of course, obviously. So essentially what they said is, this is what happened. They said that you have on set these things that are called dailies, which is essentially all of the footage that was shot in one day. They said one day Ryan Reynolds comes to set. This is the backstory. Comes to set, reviews the dailies, the raw footage, whatever that was shot today, reviews the script. And then he goes into his trailer, allegedly, don't gag order or sue me, Ryan Reynolds. Okay, I don't want to be involved in your drama. I'm just telling my audience what I was told. He goes into Blake Lively's trailer and they have an argument. All of the production assistants overheard the argument, okay? Now, what was at the root of that argument? We don't know, but we can assume it had something to do with what he saw in these dailies, what he read in the script. Who even knows what led him to even visit on this day? And the person says that from that day forward, he started involving himself, that he basically became a chaperone for her on set. He was there basically every day, involved in the projects, wanting to rewrite lines. And suddenly Ryan Reynolds was trying to wrangle this project from Justin Baldoni. Okay. So that is first and foremost positively fascinating, because I didn't even consider the angle that there had been some sort of a fight that took place between Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds that switched things. But it makes sense when you look at the lawsuit, because Justin Baldoni is like, we offered her an intimacy coordinator and she was not okay with it. Then suddenly in her complaint, which I am now referring to as Ryan Reynolds' complaint, she's like, there was no intimacy coordinator. And he's like, she was totally fine and joking with me about this stuff. And then all of a sudden in the complaint, she's like, why is he riffing at all? Like, we have to just stay in character at all times, which is a bizarre thing for any actor or actress to say, because riffing is a part of the job. Like, I only did drama club when I was in like 8th grade. I think I was a Munchkin in The Wizard of Oz. But even I knew that you got to riff, because you got to be able to riff. That's the whole point. Something could go wrong and you got to be able to be on your feet. So it was oddly particular for her to say he was not in character, or this or whatever it was. But when you add that she was okay with everything until a certain day, it starts to make sense. So let's go through some of these elements. So the person then told me that what followed was essentially Justin Baldoni being completely sideswept by Ryan, just trying to peacock him and show him that, like, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, I'm the A-lister. I am Ryan Reynolds. I have A-list friends. I'm friends with Taylor Swift. I am friends with Hugh Jackman. I'm the person that plays Deadpool. And that is when And this person was a strong contact. So this isn't like a little bit of tea. This is like, I felt good receiving this information from another person who said that it was Ryan Reynolds who marched into WME, okay, which is Endeavor. It's also called Endeavor. It is the biggest talent agency in the world. Every celebrity is under there, from Taylor Swift to Justin Baldoni, and said, it's us or it's him. Like, you're going to drop Justin Baldoni or you're going to lose all of us. And I obviously that has a little bit of weight at Endeavor if you're friends with Taylor Swift. So here's the article of what happened next. You can see Justin Baldoni gets dropped from WME in wake of Blake Lively's sexual harassment allegations. That person is telling me that it was 100% Ryan that orchestrated that dropping, and it was an ultimatum that he delivered to their door. So Ryan felt like he won. He had Justin Baldoni, as we showed you, in the basement at his own premiere event, even though it was his movie that his production company brought the rights from. Justin Baldoni in a basement with his wife and his family, celebrating it next to Dasani water, making the best of it. And now he gets dropped. The civil complaint is filed, and Ryan is like, we won. What Ryan didn't realize, okay, or didn't calculate for rather, was that Justin Baldoni shares that production company, Wayfarer Studios, with a guy who is a billionaire, okay? So Taylor Swift might have influence, but money is money, okay? And this guy made a ton of money in the 1990s. He's a very tall guy, by the way. I think Justin Baldoni is 6'2". And this guy, Steven Sarosky, is basically just living out the rest of his life trying to do good things. Right? So this is an article. He lives in Chicago, and it says the city's newest billionaire doesn't plan to die one. He does not want to die a billionaire. His plan for Steve Sarowitz and his wife is to just give away $1 billion in charity during their lifetimes. That's a lot. He's so rich that his new goal is to give away $1 billion. Like, that's what we're all aspiring to. And this guy, like I said, is just Dr. Do-Good. He has no horse in this race. He wanted to establish Wayfarer Studios to do and to bring stories to life that have really good messages. And I haven't read this book, It Ends With Us, but apparently there's a really good message. And apparently what I am told is Justin Baldoni truly is kind of one of these bleeding heart libs, as is this guy, Steve Sarosky. And they just wanted to like do good things. And they're like true feminists, you know, like, how can we bring stories to life that tell the story of women's struggles? Okay, maybe not someone that would invite me over for tea, but whatever. So this guy, for no reason, because of Ryan Reynolds, gets blacklisted from Hollywood, because that's how it works. When Endeavor says you're out, you're out. Okay, when Taylor Swift says you're out, you're out. I'm not saying she did, but I'm saying that I'm sure her name meant something with like, we're gonna leave, and Taylor Swift is the godmother to all of our children. And this guy's not taking that sitting down. And so what I'm hearing is that he was the one that was sort of like, hey, like, this is not okay. That all of this is happening because of the ego or because of the jealousy of Ryan Reynolds, like a small man who got jealous, came to set, got jealous, and is essentially trying to destroy the movie, trying to destroy this company, and getting an actual good company blacklisted from Hollywood using his A-list contacts. Now, here's what's fascinating. This is not the first time. When you then start recognizing that this could have been a Ryan Reynolds personality issue, that Ryan Reynolds has been accused of being controlling before. Let's remember, he dates women that are like about a decade younger than him, marries women that are younger than him. When he met Scarlett Johansson, who he was married to first, she was 20, he was 28 or 29, and then they got married, and nobody really knew why they got divorced, but the closest that Scarlett Johansson ever came to suggesting why they got divorced was for Elle magazine. When she was talking, she said this, and I'm going to show you. It says, I'm sorry, talking to Cosmopolitan, ScarJo, without naming any names, said the logistics of being with one another as an actor are challenging. There has to be a real understanding of how you share your time, especially when two people's careers are going at the same rate, or even if one person is more successful than the other, that also proves challenging. There may be a competitive thing. And the writer includes, that's all the explanation you're ever going to get from ScarJo on this one. But since she's currently with an art dealer, we assume she's not talking about her current relationship, and most likely about the 3 years that she spent married to Ryan Reynolds, who is, as you may know, an actor. Okay, so that's her speaking about her relationship, why it maybe fell apart. And when you start to realize that all this is going on in the background with Ryan Reynolds, and he's at set every day, you start realizing just how over-involved he was in a film that had nothing to do with him. So we knew that he had a blow up. They had a blow up. Ryan Reynolds allegedly screamed in Justin Baldoni's face at his apartment. Justin Baldoni said he was humiliated, that he had never been screamed at like that in his entire life. And despite this, Ryan Reynolds injected himself and brought his A-list friends in the form of Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, to set to create promos, promos for It Ends With Us. But in this promo, he's very clearly taking a jab at Justin Baldoni. Listen to what he says.
Okay.
Oh, God.
This is cool. It's not every day the husband gets to interview his wife's love interest in a film. It's kind of crazy.
I don't remember seeing this on the schedule.
Dive in, shall we? So I saw you posing in a photo with Mrs. Reynolds, and I'm sorry, what do you call her? Do you guys have a nickname or something? Okay, no, just so it's Mrs. Okay.
No.
It's not every day a guy gets to interview the love interest of his best friend's wife, and the guy trying to replace Ryan as a husband and me as his best mate.
Holy s***.
What the hell are you doing messing with my best buddy's wife?
Sir, I have no idea what's happening at all today.
So I'm starting to think, you guys, now that we know, think about what he is saying there. Is somebody trying to replace my husband's, my best friend's husband's wife, right? My best friend's wife, He's basically like shooting this with Brandon Sklenner, because that's not Justin Baldoni, but he knows Justin Baldoni is, probably 5 feet away. It's Justin Baldoni's film. And he's writing this script, and I don't think it's really a script, I think Ryan Reynolds is peacocking, bringing in an A-lister, saying, you can't say no to this. We're promoting your movie, and this is an A-list star that's willing to do it. But he's actually taking a stab at what likely went on behind the scenes here. Ryan felt, for whatever reason, intimidated about the relationship that maybe he thought was budding between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. And he's saying that in the script, and he has a distinctive pattern. Ryan Reynolds, this is his thing. He's a Taylor Swift of the movie industry. When he gets upset with somebody, he puts them into a script. And sometimes it's people that he's working with, actors on set. When he gets mad or he gets angry, he steps out of character and goes off script and uses the character to diminish the actor. How do we know this? Because TJ Miller, and they made up after this, I will say that, spoke about this on Adam Carolla's podcast. He was saying he would never work with Ryan Reynolds, basically saying he was an absolute jerk, and that they had this weird moment where Ryan Reynolds used his character Deadpool to basically strip him down in real life. Take a listen to what TJ Miller had to say.
We had a really weird moment on Deadpool where he said, let's do one more take. And everyone was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then as the character, he was like horrifically mean to me, but to me.
Cathartic.
As if I'm Weasel.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So he was like, you know what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star, but you just, you do just enough exposition that it's funny, and then we can leave and get back to the real movie.
So he's riffing. How much riffing was done?
A lot. And he's a great improviser.
And how much of it made the cut?
A lot of it. And then the stuff that they kept and you see in the reel, it's a lot of it is what he's doing. I'm riffing. Also the writers were so incredible.
But what went south in that moment? Did you react to it?
I just kind of listened and thought it was weird. And then I got off stage because then they finally were like, cut. And then I got off stage and I walked over and the whole crew was acting weird. And then I went up to Kate and I was like, that was weird, right? And she was like, of course it was weird. It was insane. It was insane. And everybody was looking at each other like, what the is he doing?
So this is Ryan Reynolds' thing. This is how he offsets his emotion. He channels it through his characters. Like, think again, what did he say in that scene? Oh, it's not every day you get to interview the guy that's trying to hit on your wife or whatever it is. And he's using Brandon Sklenner, but this isn't about Brandon Sklenner. This is about how Ryan feels about Justin Baldoni. That is what I believe is happening. And you see this again. I know that we already showed you this, but I'm going to show you now because now that we have the context that Ryan was the one that was sent on a spiral because of something he saw potentially in the dailies. Again, this is all allegedly. Now rewatch that nice pool scene while we know in the lawsuit that he included a bit about, his wife just gave birth and she was losing weight and basically making fun of the fact that Justin Baldoni is a feminist and has a feminist podcast. Now watch that nice pool scene where he decided to include a stab at Justin Baldoni.
Who are you? Oh, I'm Deadpool. And I guess you're Deadpool too. But in here, everybody calls me Nice Pool. Oh my goodness, wait till you see Lady Pool. She is gorgeous. She just had a baby too, and Can't even tell. I don't think you're supposed to say that. That's okay. I identify as a feminist. Right.
And there's more. There's a lot of stuff that didn't make the movie where he is more explicit in making fun of Justin Baldoni. People are noticing that he even did his hair like Justin Baldoni. The short hair that he has right now is not his usual hair. That was for the film. He usually has it up in a ponytail and it's long. So this was very much meant to be like, I am just now outwardly making fun of you and saying everything that I want to say while pretending that I'm in character or promoting even your own movie. And this pattern of him being controlling, even going from ScarJo, somebody mentioned to me, actually, I think it was Brett Cooper, pointed out to me, and I shared it on my stories, that the director of Deadpool, the first director of Deadpool, is this guy named Tim Miller. And he stepped down from the job. And the quotation that he gave was essentially, according to him, the issue was Ryan Reynolds. He left the franchise because him and Ryan Reynolds could not get along. And he explicitly says, according to him, that Ryan Reynolds wanted to, quote unquote, control the franchise. So Ryan Reynolds has control issues, and something that happened on that set triggered him to feel that he was not in control of his relationships. Now, again, this is me speculating based off of all of the evidence and the picture that is now being painted, that basically Ryan has been on one big rant and wants to destroy Justin Baldoni. Now, I'm beginning to ask myself, because I just got contacted and I wish the show could have just been 2 hours later, but somebody else who is very connected to this reached out and said, Candace, you're 90% there. You're just missing one thing. And I'm beginning to wonder, and listen, full speculation, no proof, for him to go that crazy, did something happen between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively? That's my question. Did something happen between the two of them, and then he came to set, or maybe he saw, maybe it was just a text message. I'm not saying they had an affair. Maybe it was a text message. He was going through her phone, logged onto her computer to order some Uber. I don't know, or Uber Eats. He was just ordering some Chipotle and he saw a free text come in. I don't know. And he's like, you know what? Let me go check on what's going on. And then he goes and he gets the dailies and he sees a little bit too much chemistry. And he's starting to think, oh, you know what? That's kind of funny. That's how I start all my relationships. I am in movies, like I was with ScarJo, and then I start dating them and I marry them, I sleep with them. And then I did this again with Blake Lively, and she's done that too. She also has a history of dating people who she co-stars with from Gossip Girl, and he just goes crazy. And maybe he starts thinking they're having an affair or something's going on, and he just goes full bore. But there's a 10% thing that this person's legend that I'm missing, and I'm going to get it. And I will have it to you guys by Monday. I'm putting the pieces together, but something happened on set. Okay, this story is now coming into focus, and Ryan Reynolds is the one that is pushing this. Ryan Reynolds is pretending that he cares now that people riff when it's all he does on the set of Deadpool. Now he's like, stick to the script, Blake Lively, no caressing, no touching, and he's essentially using this lawsuit, or attempted to use this, not even supposed to be a lawsuit, whatever he filed in LA, the complaint that he filed, as a way to just destroy a man that he's clearly extremely jealous of. I think that is very clear. He is extremely jealous of Justin Baldoni. You do not show up on set, insert yourself. I mean, how weird. I was saying to my producer, like when we were doing documentaries, how weird if like my husband showed up and just was like, I'm rewriting the entire script and I'm going to start promoting it. That doesn't register as, that's not a secure man. That's an insecure man. That is a man that is spiraling, and it is plausible that Blake Lively was given an ultimatum, just like Endeavor allegedly was given an ultimatum, and she had to go along with this to save her marriage. She just had her fourth kid, I think, 4 kids, and you know, your husband's going crazy. Maybe Blake Lively's like, I just got to go along with this to save my marriage. I don't know. And I'm also not trying to present her as a victim because she's played a part in this. And maybe it got out of her hands, it got out of her control. And now it's fully very much in the lawyer's control. And it is not going to end well because it's already just getting worse every single day. And my understanding is that she's not kind. She's not a kind person from insiders. She has never been particularly presented as a very kind person. But I think this rage, it seems to me, that Ryan Reynolds has been on a rage since the day that he allegedly picked up those dailies, and he has not stopped. And there's something that Justin Baldoni did, or that he believes or perceives, if he thinks his wife likes Justin Baldoni, that set him on this insecure quest. So like I said, I will have it for you on Monday. I'm fishing it out. I'm darn close. Don't send a gag order to me, Ryan Reynolds, because I'm not going to abide by it. I just feel like I just don't do it. Just don't do it, okay? Or I'll pretend I didn't get it. I'll just jump away from the server. I'll jump into a bush. So don't do that. Just leave me alone, okay? Speaking of which, speaking of servers, speaking of the people who knock on your doors and say you're being sued, you guys would be thrilled or shocked. I'm sure you're shocked to discover that Emmanuel Macron and Mr. Macron sent me that legal letter, 100 pages of not answering any questions, but saying that like me covering the story is causing her emotional distress, but also don't publicize this. We don't want you to take this public, Candace, but know that we are the president of a country that you don't live in, so you better take us seriously. What? Like, welcome to America? I don't know. Cultural differences? You're an idiot for having sent this, okay? Whoever your advisors are, fire them. This was dumb, Emmanuel. Stupid, okay? Literally, who's ever presented that idea and let that go through is the dumbest person in your inner circle. Now, maybe people thought it was crazy. Now everyone now realizes something here is real, okay? Because this is not what sitting presidents do. So we gave them a full week and 21 questions. Very simple questions. You can pull some of these questions up. These are majority yes or no questions that we gave them back. You know, we're not trying to lie on you. So can you answer some basic questions like, did Brigitte Macron ever use the name Veronique? That's question number 5. You might be asking, I wonder why Candace is asking that very specific question. Yeah, you're going to want to know. Can you identify each child in the Amiens family photograph and their current whereabouts? Did Brigitte Macron physically give birth to 3 children? That is if you think someone's transgender, if someone is saying that, Candace, I think you're really a man, and somebody says, I will shut down this podcast and I won't say that anymore if you answer this question, did Candace physically give birth to children? Yes, I physically gave birth. Here are the hospitals. Here are the pictures. Yes. So apologize to me publicly because they can't do that. They can't answer these questions, okay? And so I'm happy to tell you guys that beginning next Friday, I hope we make that deadline. It looks good. Looks promising. Beginning next Friday, we will begin our Brigitte Macron series. I'm happy to show this to you guys. The series will be entitled Becoming Brigitte, an investigative series by Candace Owens. Yay! I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Whoop, whoop. We are so back. Trump's in office, Emmanuel Macron, okay? You stop that. Whatever you think you're doing, you stop that. I gave you 21 questions and you couldn't answer. I was like 50 Cent, which, by the way, speaking of which, this is amazing. And this is like Emmanuel Macron. Too bad he didn't see this clip. But you know, Andrew Schultz and the boys over on the Flagrant podcast, I actually don't know them. I have not met them. But somebody sent me this clip from their show recently. Basically, they're saying that if there's 2 people you don't mess around with, it's Candace Owens and 50 Cent. Okay, take a listen.
50 Cent Candace gets a hold of you. Yeah, any one of them, you're done.
50 or Candace, you don't want no problems, bro. I know Candace tweeted a little video of us saying we don't want no problems. Yeah. Just the fact that she tweeted a video of us, I was like, that was
you get the notification.
I said,
done.
No, not Candace. Nah, Candace, you gotta play around with. Don't play around with Candace. You don't play around with 50 Cent. Simple as that.
That scared me, bro.
Guy at the end. That's just scary, bro. Listen, Macron, you really, I don't know what you were doing inside of this letter, but you were playing around. I think you were playing around. I don't think you ever were going to bring forth this lawsuit in Tennessee. I don't even know how that would work, bringing forth a lawsuit in Tennessee, thinking that I have to abide by the harassment that you are giving to journalists who are trying to present this story, well-meaning journalists in France who are a lot of suspicious circumstances surrounding it. America is not France. And let me tell you, the South of America is especially not France. As I said, we don't like the kind of people who are trying to mainstream the idea that it's normal for 14-year-old boys to be macked on by their 39, 40-year-old teachers. So it's just not a thing down here. And I'm looking forward to now that the whole world is paying attention. I'm looking forward to the women, especially because we just become detectives. We become the CIA. Essentially, the show is now the CIA. The women that are going to send me so much of what they found. I'm so excited for this part because it's crazier than the Kamala Chronicles. It's somehow crazier than the Kamala Chronicles. And it involves America. It involves the world. And I know that your real fear is that the English-speaking world has not been aware of what's going on in France. And now the English-speaking world is very much going to be aware of what's going on in France, and they're going to be shocked, and how it even loops in Trump and the raid at Mar-a-Lago and the alleged files that were found on your quote-unquote sex life, as reported in The Guardian, that caused a transatlantic panic. Wow. a transatlantic, what could it possibly be? We're going to get to the bottom of that. So, guys, that series will begin next Friday, and I look forward, and I'm grateful for all of you guys that have supported me through this. Obviously, we spent the majority of this time with this podcast being completely demonetized and have relied on just you guys donating to keep this show going. And everything's just been amazing. Truly, like I'm so grateful to my audience. I'm so grateful to the detectives, the moms at home, the dads at home, and just like the whole gang out there. It's been amazing, you guys. So I'm going to read some of your comments first. I just want to remind you, if you think my skin is glowing, it's because of Nimi Skincare. And you know that I love that product. I actually shared it on my Instagram the other day. The new year is the perfect time to refresh your routine, set new intentions, and step into a healthier, more confident you. So if you are ready to invest in self-care that truly makes a difference, then Nimi Skincare has something special to help you greet the year with glowing skin and renewed spirit. Right now, if you use code Candace10 at checkout to enjoy 10% off of your order, whether you're treating yourself or helping someone else start the new year on the right foot, this is your chance to try Nimi's luxurious skincare at a great price. Nimi Skincare is more than just a product. It's a brand that you can feel proud to support because every item is made right here in the USA, America, baby, reflecting the values of faith, family, and freedom. If you're looking for skincare that's extra gentle, Nimi also has a line of clean formulas that are free of fragrance and other potential irritants, which is a thoughtful choice for anyone that's seeking a gentler approach. With these effective products, Nimi can help you begin the new year feeling confident and revitalized. So use code Candace10 today at NimiSkincare.com. The spelling of that is Nimi skincare.com, and you will save 10% off of your purchase. So give yourself the gift of glowing, refreshed skin, and confident skin. NimiSkincare.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 52 minutes. This time is flying. I just feel like I have so much more that I want to say to talk to you guys. I want to hang up with my friend right now. Okay, let me just see what you guys are saying. I'm not hanging up the phone right now. We don't have to say goodbye. We have Donnie, who has commented and said, please interview Nicole Shanahan. She is the only person in California that could get elected as governor, and we need her. That I'm aware she's RFK Jr. She was RFK Jr.'s running mate in his 2024 independent presidential campaign. I have heard of her. I'm not invested particularly in Californian politics, but this is a good suggestion. You know, we're kind of going a different direction with the show. I'm worried about what's happening in Emmanuel Macron's life, but you know, it's always good to have suggestions. So we'll take a look at that. Ulysses Osuna writes, Blake's actions of how she conducted herself during the interviews were still her actions and not Ryan's. Totally agree. That's what started the organic smear campaign. She still hasn't owned up to anything, even if Ryan pushed for it. Totally agree. And I hope I've made that clear. Like, my understanding is that she's not a great person either. Like, she's never been particularly nice, but this entire drive to destroy Justin Baldoni is not being driven by her, allegedly. It's being very much driven by Ryan Reynolds' feelings toward Justin Baldoni. And so, like I said, I feel like I'm going to crack it, but I think something maybe happened. But to set him off that much, something must have happened, because then he even tried to buy his film, by the way, guys. Like, do we have that? Do you have that, Skylar, showing that Blake Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, willing to buy out Justin Baldoni from It Ends With Us? That's not normal, kids. Okay, like, hey, honey, bye, I'm going to work. Yeah, I'll be there. I'm going to put your boss in the basement, then I'll buy the whole company so that you can be in the films and I can watch you be in the films that you want to be in. Like, that's not the signs of a healthy relationship, I would say. Sister Bethy writes, Candace, I agree. Generation X is very immature. They are 50 and up competing with 30-year-olds. They're embarrassing to us all. I'm a Gen Xer, but they make us look bad. And Candace, I wish you were Trump's press secretary. Everyone would look forward to your press conferences. I know it would be so fun, but it can't happen, dude. I've made myself an enemy of AIPAC, and the rule is like, you just can't work in the administration if AIPAC hates you. It doesn't work like that. And actually, I say I wish I could do that, but I don't actually. I love what I do here. This is so much more fun. Like, I couldn't be up on the podium being like, let me tell you your question, but first, have you seen the report about Justin Baldoni? Like, whoa, but did you see the video about Brett Cooper? I wouldn't be allowed to do that. And I don't want to exist anywhere where I can't be my full self. Maybe I could do that. They'd be very confused, but I probably could do that. If Joe Biden can be president, I can be a press secretary that just speaks about cultural issues. Ben Coyne writes, Candace, I appreciate how strong your faith is as a Catholic. It makes me feel more confident in my own and inspired me to participate more in the faith as well as at my local parish. So thank you. I love that, Ben. Challenge yourself to learn the Latin liturgy. That's my challenge this year. I have not learned it, but I have a missal, so it's like English and Latin, and I'm getting better. And it's a fun challenge to feel like a kid again and realize that you don't know anything. And actually, it's great to have Latin as a language. It's just like the root word there. I think it's a very good challenge that I've taken on this year, or last year rather, is when I started it. Alaska Dog Lady writes, Netflix has a Jerry Springer doc. He did an episode with actual Klansmen. When asked why he would do that as a Jew, he said, these people killed my ancestors, but I censor no one. We need that 90s energy back. Yeah, I have pulled clips of the people that Oprah interviewed. It is crazy how much we have been censored even since the 90s. You don't even realize that. Like, they were having all sorts of people challenging conversations, but I think it's growing more censorious because they're not able to control people. And so they're just kind of freaking out, like, especially all of these moves to like censor Gen Z because Gen Z is not pro-Israel, whatever. It's like crazy. And you only do that when you're losing control. Like, censorship wasn't a thing when Obama was in office. Then suddenly people demanded it when they realized, like, whoa, we didn't expect all these people to vote for Donald Trump. We were kind of telling them who to vote for, and they were doing it. So I think that's definitely one piece of it, is a lack of control, more people just waking up to what the media entity actually is, which is something that's quite evil. This person writes, regarding Blake, this would make sense because her interviews during the press for this movie almost seemed like she was trying to make it fail. Maybe she was pressured from Ryan there as well. I don't know. Obviously, Justin Baldoni did not want it to fail. I don't know that she would either, because it would be something that's on her resume. And also, if I'm correct, she was a producer on the movie. Like, she was given a producer credit. But I think they definitely wanted, or rather Ryan Reynolds wanted Justin to fail. Martha writes, hi Candace, when are you going to collab with House and Habit? Love you, girl. I did an interview with her, Jessica Reed. She's great. She's phenomenal. And I like her a lot. So I would love to collab with her, but I just got to have this baby first. Also, guys, reminding you, we are still selling our Standis cups, our new ones that you requested, the purple Standis cup. Everything is fake and gay because it is, and we know it. And just to be clear, YouTube, we say gay, we are not mocking homosexuals. We are back in the 90s when we say fake and gay. It's the general climate of everything that's happening. And so next week is going to be a banger. I will have the final tea and figure out what happened that set Ryan off on set, allegedly. And we also have, again, if we can bring up that Becoming Brigitte series, which will begin on Friday. Do you think she'll send me a gag order? She did this like whole spread, by the way, yesterday in Paris Match, and it was like, Brigitte will return, you know, anybody saying anything for her, like blow for blow was the language that it was in French, obviously. And she will return blow for blow. I wasn't mentioned in the article, but I was just thinking, like, is she going to hit me? Men shouldn't hit women. That feels very wrong. Anyways, we'll see you guys on Monday.